Hey everyone, it is me once more, and I just sat down to record a video because it's fun and I like doing it and basically talking to myself. Today's topic is the LGBTQ community, which sounds weird saying because I am a part of that community and have been for a long time now. I've identified as non-binary probably for I don't even know how long now, like a year and a few months. Um, and I just wanted to talk about that, and I have a list of questions that are common that people ask. And of course, I can answer on behalf of all the LGBTQ community, but I have been circling around this community and I've educated myself. I've read a lot of stuff, and I think it's time for me to spread that knowledge, finally. So here I have a list from unc.edu. I don't know how to pronounce that, but I will probably leave the link in the description if you really need it. But here are frequently asked questions about the LGBTQ community, and I'm going to answer them and give my thoughts. So, the first question was pretty inevitable is how do I know what pronoun to use if I'm unsure? Now, this is quite easy to answer. If this is a person that is within your reach and you're probably going to talk to again, or talk to, refer to, then I would just ask the person. You should ask the person what their pronouns are. But if this is just like a person walking down the street that you are going to refer to, like in a sense of look at that person or something in that direction, then I would just use they, them. Just use they, because that is the most commonly used gender neutral pronoun, and this gender neutral pronoun has been used throughout history. Shakespeare wrote with those pronouns. I have seen that everywhere, basically. I'm pretty sure that's true. And yeah, if there's a person that you don't know the gender of, or just a person that looks, let's just say, a person that looks a lot like a female, but you actually don't know the pronouns, you should just say they. It's pretty difficult at first, but you really get used to it quickly, like I have. I feel like, of course, I use like gendered pronouns now and again when referring to strangers, but I'm I would say I'm pretty good at using pronouns because I have researched this for the past 4 years. So, yeah, that's exactly my input on that. The next question is why are people gay? Why are people gay? Honestly, I do not know. There is some biological research, and if you want to dive into that, sure, go for it, because I did read some things about that, like how transgender people, in fact, how they are biologically and actually transgender, like the scientific proof behind being transgender. But people are just gay because they are gay. That's just the way they feel. That's just the way you make me feel. And yeah, if a person identifies as a certain sexuality, that is their sexuality. Even though, I'm not saying that it is a phase, because in most cases it is not a phase, but you should be able to be a straight cis person who questions their sexuality and their gender, because that should definitely be allowed. It's not like, boom, now you're gay, you've identified as gay and now you're gay forever. You need to think about it a lot, and then maybe you'll come out. And if, like, later on you identify as bisexual, for example, then sure, that's your identity. It can change over time. Because, like, at first, of course, I was bisexual, because that was the only term I knew at the time. And then I identified as pansexual, then I identified as polysexual. I have identified as so many things throughout my life. And the identity that you have at the moment is not the identity that you have for the rest of your life. So I just kind of wanted to say that, but moving on. How can I learn more about transgender and intersex communities? First of all, do research. You should definitely do research. What type of research that is, I don't know. I've done pretty vast, different things as in research. By that I mean I have read books, I have talked to transgender and other LGBTQ people in the community. That is a great way to learn, by the way. I really recommend talking to someone who identifies as LGBTQ, because and also talk to a few people, not just one person, because every experience is completely different. So yeah, and also just you can do research on the internet, but be sure that your source of information is correct, and you may trust that source of information, which is not J.K. Rowling, by the way. I just spilled some tea right there, but just don't mind that. The next question is, are bisexual people just folks who haven't finished coming out as gay or lesbian? The simple answer would of course be no. Because bisexuality in and of itself is a valid identity. I support bisexual people 100%. But yes, people who have identified as bisexual and now identify as gay or lesbian definitely exist. They definitely do exist. Like, I know people that first came out as bisexual, but then came out as, a different identity, and that is okay. But that is not to say that kind of rhymed. But that is not to say that all people of that certain identity are just, it's not just a gateway thing, because for example, I'm not bisexual. That's not the term I use to identify myself, but I would say that I am completely and utterly attracted to males, females, and non-binary people just splitly. That is not every bisexual, though. Some bisexual people prefer males or females, or sometimes even non-binary people, and that is okay, because like I said, every experience is completely different. Moving on to the next question. That is, what is the gender binary? That is an excellent question, may I add. Because, of course, that is a difficult question to answer, because you hear it a lot, right? When you hear people talk about the LGBTQ people talking, it's like, oh yeah, the gender binary is, not a good thing. And hey, this is me editing, and I realized that I said the gender binary and said that it was not necessarily a good thing. I probably just mixed it with gender stereotypes, and for that I'm completely sorry. Stuff. They're always talking about the gender binary, and what that means essentially is male and female. Oftentimes referred to as cis males or females, but if you are a trans girl, let's just say that, if you are a trans girl, then the gender binary, you're still in the gender binary because you're a woman. But as me, for example, I am outside the gender binary because I don't identify as either male or female. So, the next question is, why do we use the phrase LGBTQIA plus communities instead of community? Yeah, communities. Yeah, with an S, like it's plural. That is because you like to refer to each identity as a community because it's like because the gay community and the transgender community, yes, they are referred to as, the LGBTQIA, but they are completely different things, two completely different things. So that is why you should you should use LGBTQIA instead of just maybe even I mean you should use communities, not community. So the next question is, what is the difference between sex and gender? That is simple. Sex is what's between your legs. And gender is what you identify as. Do not mix those two up. In Icelandic, for example, we don't have the privilege to have those two different words. No. We have just one word for both things, which, yeah, that is pretty annoying. But it's okay. I mean, yeah. So the next question is, what are the right term to use? Just what term the person you're referring to wants to use. It's not that complicated. And then the next and final question is, why is "that's so gay" so offensive if people don't mean anything by it? Okay, I just need one word to describe that. It's stereotypes. Because saying that a man wearing a dress, for example, is so gay, that is just feeding into the stereotype of gay men are feminine. And of course, people who say that's okay are often, if not exclusively, referring to gay men being feminine. So that is like pretty offensive, even though you don't really mean anything by it. And I hear people say that's okay like all the time. And it kind of infuriates me, just a little bit, like feeding into the anger that is within me. But just don't say that. It's not that complicated, just don't say that. And that is the final question answered. And thank you for watching and listening and all that jazz. This video is kind of long, but at the same time, not really. And yeah, I hope you are all having a great day. And I will see you again in the next video. Bye bye. Huge shout out to the Instagram account searslgbtq.dating, and thank you so much for the compliment.